so good to be back.
I was supposed to say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, so Happy New Year in advance.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year in advance.
What's today's day? 20? Okay.
Today is the 29th.
Okay. So
and they'll probably be hearing this on Christmas Eve, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Either tomorrow or Christmas Eve. One of the two.
We're releasing 2 episodes. We're releasing 2 episodes now.
So we can do... Because one of the release...
Tomorrow. Have you edited the other one?
Okay, but let's see. Hopefully, if we don't have any episodes tomorrow, then we have 2 episodes.
We'll just do back-to-back
on Christmas Eve. But expect
fun.
This in 1 or 2 days. So
yeah.
Funny enough, a couple of people have asked me, "Hey, I haven't seen anything from you guys." I'm like, "No vex."
Girls Classes God, what's happening? But yeah.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of
Girls Classes God podcast.
Woohoo!
Everyone is back to the beginning.
Oh my god, maybe we should look for another way of introducing ourselves next year.
I'll be like, "Hi, I'm Ebun and Omo-Olorun."
And I am Ebun.
Okay. And we are the co-host of the Girls Classes God podcast. God bless you.
All right, guys, welcome back. It's so good to be back.
Did you like that introduction?
I did not.
We'll keep on tweaking it.
All right, guys, how have you been?
How
it
was
doesn't
your
matter if you can reply me or not, but
How was your Christmas?
Yeah, I hope you've been enjoying your holidays. How did you spend your holidays? What did you do? I'm curious to see.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking me that question.
I was never asking you. But oh well, you can take a stab at it.
Well, holidays, I've been resting a lot.
Okay.
I think for Christmas, I did like I don't know if I should call it a giant, like I did a lot of cooking. So I made like native rice, I made white rice and stew, I made moi moi, I made egusi, I made jollof rice on Christmas Eve. What else did I make?
Omo-Olorun the chef.
Omo-Olorun the chef. Because I was just cooking. But yeah, it turned out well. It was very tiring, but it turned out well. People were around. They came over. They ate. They don't eat as much as I wanted them to eat. But at least they carried food back.
What else were you looking for?
I wanted people to eat right there. And people should have like fat stomach.
Not so.
So, but yeah, it was fun. And it was all a plan because I was competing against people in Nigeria. So, and I won. I can proudly say that I won.
You won.
Because they have no voice here. So I can probably say I won. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good way to spend Christmas because I think last year, I was just at home. I think last year I was just at home. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I don't even think I cooked or did anything like that. But yeah, how was your own Christmas?
It was good. I mean, I was part of the eating crew, so
Ebun said she will encourage. Okay, well, let me know. Open your this outside.
Why?
Because you helped me. But Ebun was making mouths. She was like, "Don't worry, I will encourage
Thank
you.
God you just said I helped you.
I will do gist.
Did I not come? Did I not come?
Only on Christmas Eve before. She helped me just one thing. But you tried, Sha, because I don't want to do it. So you tried. Christmas Eve. I mean, Christmas gone, but she came after everything was done.
You said help like 3 times now.
She came after everything was done. So,
I didn't even know because I thought you were going to church on Christmas Day now. Somebody had mentioned, we'll see on Wednesday. So I was like, maybe you go to church in the morning or whatever.
I started cooking that morning. So I was like, I just started. So
I mean, you had other people with you now, so I'm sure my presence was not.
You were sending me a message of, my goal is, what's that message that you sent
that
to
we
me?
encourage you now because I thought that it was just going to be you. So like, don't worry. You
were encouraged. You encouraged me less. So yeah, but
I think this holiday has been cool. Yeah, we had another party. We had a housewarming party yesterday.
Yeah,
it was really cool. And guys, I've been hosting back to back, like for real. Like I've been emceeing.
Ebun the host with the most. Is that what Toby said? The host with the most. That's what she said.
I've been planning. I've been decorating. I've been doing. So you guys,
if you need an MC.
The reason why I'm saying all these things is we have Job. Like, don't worry. We
can do it all.
If you need, if you need to kickstart, like, if you need people to decorate your place,
we can do it.
I'm not cheap, please. I beg. It's not free.
Let them first come.
No, they will come. I just want to be.
We can do it. They've seen us now.
They've seen us.
They know that. I'm not here to try and able.
Like for at least this month, last month, people were like, start making money from this thing now. Start making. I say, okay, no wahala.
That's going to be a side hustle.
That's a very good side hustle, at least for now.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would look like next year, but who knows? Like somebody can say, I've seen you do. It's just that I don't post.
Not been posting
It's been a while I even
You should
posted.
actually create. Wait, actually, do you want
Somebody
to take
said
it
I should
seriously?
create a page.
Yeah, you should
You want to
actually
do it
create
for
a
me?
page. I can do it.
Okay.
Why are you a social media manager?
You can do it if you want. You can do it for me. Why not?
Yeah, I can actually do it.
Okay.
You have to think of a name, concept, and everything. So all the events that you do, you just be posting it there. Show the behind the scenes and all of that.
Yeah, but it's something that I actually really enjoy. Like when I have the time to do it, it's just that you like with work, it's usually very tight. But see, if you bring money, don't worry about it.
But the thing about it is that if you imagine if you are doing like one event a month, and it's like big event, not big like big, but like something that is manageable. What do you say?
That'll pay me good money.
That will pay you good money. Like one event is enough, and especially when you're starting. So it's like because the events you already do, they're already minimum of 10-15 people. So you're not going to be doing.
I'm sure we're more than 20 yesterday.
Yeah, you get. So you're not going to be doing events of like 5 people or 6 people. In fact, you've even done more events than that when you think about church. So like the events we hosted in church and things like that. So like we're doing events of like 30 plus. So it's not like you're a beginner or anything. You know, it's when you're starting out that you do like small deals and everything. You're trying to gather people and all that.
I've been doing this thing.
But you've been doing it. People know you have reputation in Atlanta. You have reputation in Atlanta. You have reputation in Atlanta. You have reputation in Athens as well. So it's something you can do.
Yeah. No worries. I'm open. God should take me wherever He wants to next year. Don't worry. If you guys have like parties and stuff like that, let me know. You know.
We'll be open for business. You'll be hearing more soon.
We're open for business.
2025 is looking like it's already gonna be a good year. So yeah.
But this episode should be hopefully shorter than our normal episodes. We just want to like wrap up for the year, and then like just do our own wraps for the year, like our podcast. True. A wrap for the year, and just like reflect, ask questions. We should have put out before now said I push ask questions, but I think it's already late. But basically just reflect on like what the year has been and then like goals for next year. Are we taking a break next year before we come back?
Are we taking a break
from podcasting?
When you say break, what do you mean by that? Like before we start a new set of episodes?
Yeah, that's true. This is the last episode of this season, actually.
This is the last episode of this season, and basically for the year. And I think we're able to do 16 episodes.
15 or 16, yeah. I think
it's
to confirm.
It'll be 17. By the time this episode drops, I think it'll be 17.
It's not easy, you hear people. 17
episodes for the year.
I'm sure I mean, again, I'm not just trying to say, I'm obviously like, we could have been more consistent, but I would say we did pretty good. Like we did pretty good for a side.
And I think it's because, we kind of started, and I think one thing about me and you is that sometimes we just say some things that we never follow through. But this was one of the things that we're like, no, we have to follow through on this and all that.
Yeah.
Because I think we started like talking about it maybe October of last year, right?
Before that, actually, it was like August, because it was before I came here.
Oh, okay. So maybe August of last year, and then we started making plans towards it, and then the new year came. So that was actually like kind of like how we started the new year. We're like, we have a new year announcement, blah blah.
New year, new me.
And then we started the podcast, and actually we really tried. Like we did a lot. We did some investments. We invested our time. We invested
our resources, our
money, time, everything into as much as we can. But it's always better to like look towards the future for like higher goals, right? So what do you think?
No, before we even go to next year, like what has this year been like? What has been your favorite episode? Like what did you enjoy the most about the podcast?
I think what I enjoyed the most about it is like just when because a lot of times I think people have also asked me about the podcast, and it's like, oh, we talk for so long and like we talk so well, and it's like, do we have a script? Do we have this? Do we have a script? Do we have like all this maybe? But most times it's just like, okay, what are we talking about today? Me and they would just draft like, okay, we're talking about maybe money today. And then, sometimes we think the episode is going to go one way because we have like the points we want to hit, right? The major points we want to talk about, because obviously we also do our preparation. But by the time we start, sometimes we just ask questions and it just goes deeper into, like, we didn't even realize like maybe it's going to go deeper into something or it's going to go deeper into something else. And most times we just talk. Like we just talk all the way through. So even when we are doing the editing, it's like we're not even editing anything out. That's the honest truth. So I think that's the part I enjoy about it. And again, like we said, we invested our time into it because we're both working. and we have like other things we're also doing as well. Sometimes the time to also come together and actually like record the episodes, we'll be tired, sometimes we do it when we're back from church. We'll come back from church, we'll eat, that feeling of when you've eaten and you just want to sleep, and we'll be like, okay, you know what, let's just go and record. And then we're like, oh, you know what, this episode is not going to be long. That's what we'll tell ourselves when we are going in. By the time we are done, we've done like 2 hours. So I think I enjoyed that about like the aspects of the podcast. So what's your own favorite aspect of it?
No, you haven't finished it. What's your favorite episode?
What's my favorite episode? I think I enjoyed the episode on the one we talked about money.
Okay.
I think I enjoyed the episode where we talked about money because it was kind of like a different format to what we usually did. And we answered those questions, and I think in our head when we're thinking about answering that quiz on like the kind of money personality we had, we're thinking we'll just answer. But I like the fact that we kept on going deeper into like, okay, why would we answer this one? Why would we answer the way? So I like that. And yeah, I think that's my that or maybe it's recency bias, maybe because it's one of the most recent episodes. But yeah, that's my favorite episode. Yeah.
Okay, so I think my favorite episode, like I think to top of my head, is church ethics.
Okay.
I think that was a very hilarious episode, talking about our experiences. And then the second one is Nigerian accent wahala.
Nigerian accent wahala.
I feel like that's our most viewed episode, actually.
Maybe we should start naming all our episodes in Nigeria something, in Nigeria something.
I think that's our most viewed episode, Nigerian accent wahala. So like,
let's make it part 2, so I will blow.
If you're listening to this for the first time, binge watch those 3. I said binge watch, binge listen, listen to those 3 episodes, and then you can listen to all the other episodes. So, but I think I've enjoyed. This is something I like to do. Like I think this year, well, not this year, but I know that I like to do certain things. And number one is like talking, and then those other things that I mentioned. So. It's not being any, apart from the fact that you have to still like make out time, obviously, to do it. Like once we get into it, it hasn't been like any, like it's not stressful or strenuous, which is like really good. Another aspect I like is when people actually give me feedback, which happened a lot. Obviously, like our first level of listeners are people that know us. So people that have access to us, that have our numbers. So I enjoy it when people actually give real time feedback. In fact, I didn't even know that some people like listen to the podcast, and then like a random conversation just come out. They're like, "Oh yeah, I heard this on your podcast." I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool." So I think I also enjoy that, and I think for our listeners too, like I just want to chip this in. I think the best way to know that you're doing something and that you're doing it well is getting feedback from other people. So, look, I'm not even capping or whatever. I know we are doing a very good job, but before the end of the year, drop a message, drop an email, drop let us know what you liked. Let us know.
Tell us on Instagram.
Yeah, send us a DM, right? Like, let us know what you've enjoyed. Let us know what you like to see from us next year, right? So just drop something, right? It would really go a long way.
Yeah, I think another thing that I just really appreciate about when you go through this kind of process is, right, like, there are a lot of things you also learn along the way, because I'm sure the very first time, maybe when we're editing or we're doing one thing or the other, maybe it took us like hours to figure it out. But the more you do something, the easier it becomes. And then I think I thought about something, but I forgot. I think like in the aspect of social media as well, when you start thinking about how do you want to like edit, because like on like designing like the posters and stuff like that, so it becomes easier for you, and you start realizing that, okay, something that you might have not necessarily had as a talent before, it now becomes something that you now know how to do. And again, I think one thing, especially when I started my job, was that I used to tell people, oh, I have a podcast. And people told me like they were going to add the podcast, they were going to listen, because people are very interested in podcasts, right? So it's always interesting when they see somebody who is actually like a podcaster. And I'm like, oh yeah, I started my podcast at the beginning of this year, blah blah blah. So that was also like something that was really good. And I got into certain conversations with certain people because they knew I had a podcast, or it was like my fun fact, like, oh, I started a podcast this year. So just things like this, when you start doing things like this and you're doing it because you have a vision, you have a mission, it also opens like certain doors, or allows you to have certain opportunities because you like pressed into it, right? So
Yeah.
That's also good.
And I think, okay, so yeah, I mean, we've talked about what we like. Just want to chip it in. I just want to chip in that there are also some of the things that we tried this year that did not work, like making videos for our podcast. I mean, we'll talk about like, you know, goals for next year.
Yeah.
I'm not committing to whatever, but like, I know like we really tried, but
In fact, I think if it was left to me, I might have just posted it like that. And maybe people would have bashed us. But it was like, no, this is not looking professional.
whatever is watching is watching you well. I would rather sit on the couch and record this over and over again than like put something out there and then like at the end of the day, if you had like 1,000 views before, you now have like 200 views. Maybe like
They will not be collecting their views.
So yeah, but yeah, God help us. But okay, so apart from the podcast, what else do you have to say for reflecting on 2024, right? Like, what else do you have to say looking into 2025, but like retrospectively?
I think what I have to say, 2024 has been a good year. I think God has come through for me in many ways. You know, even sometimes when you don't feel like, sometimes when you don't feel like, I don't know if it ever happens to you that you're just, I don't know if you've heard this thing before. It's like when you've asked something from God, then when you're now living in that thing, you're not able to appreciate it because you're looking on to the next thing. Like, God, I want you to do something else for me. But I don't know what happened. I was thinking about it recently and I was like, and I remember saying it on the podcast, I think you asked me about what's something like maybe my plans for 2024. I don't know if it was on the podcast, on the YouTube episode where we said we're starting a podcast. And I remember saying that I'm thinking about 2024 in like two phases, right? The phase where I'm still in school and the phase after school, right? And I think God was very faithful. God was very true in, just keeping me well, because I went through like, it's funny because this year a lot of things happened, right? Like I graduated, I started my job and all of that. So
you got engaged. Chip it in.
I got engaged, so when I'm thinking about it, I'm like 2024, like no, it was a shocker of a year. No, it was a shocker of a year, actually. It was a shocker of a year. There were some things that were expected, there were some things that were definitely unexpected. So like God was faithful, seeing me through like the last phase of my program in school, graduating, being successful in that, even coming out and like some all these like, some little goals you had for yourself, something like me wanting to get my license and being able to drive, things like that. Those were things that God achieved for me. I was able to buy my car, things like that, move into my apartment, and it might be something that might not be like a lot to some other people, but it's something that I know that was like, God, I want you to do this thing for me. I'm looking forward to when I'm going to be living like my first apartment, this and this, starting my job and all of that. And God is good, even when there are situations and times where it feels like, okay, God, what's happening? Like, I thought you had my back, but like God still has your back, even when it doesn't look like it. So I think 2024 has been a great year, and I know 2025 is going to be an even better year because putting like, there are more, you think greater for yourself even as you're going older. So like more plans, better plans, like more goals. So yeah, 2024 was good. 2024 was good. But I know there's certain things I could have done better, but like we will not think back to what we could have done better. We'll think about how God has been good and faithful and how I can improve even in 2025. So yeah, 2024 was amazing. What about you?
Yeah, 2024 was, I think it was great. I think it was a lot of learning for me. It was a lot of learning about things and even about myself. And I thank God also for like a more like at the beginning of the year, I wanted to like have like even a better spiritual growth, like to be more consistent, a better giving lifestyle, like, and all of that. I think 2024 did. I think I remember sometime, I think like mid-year, I had like a very funny thing happen at work, and like end of the year, the way God just changed the story. God answers prayers, like if we're being very honest. And I know that some people will be like, yeah, right, but honestly, he really does answer prayers.
And it was very intentional.
Yeah, very, very. Like sometimes when I think back about like what happened and how everything is now, like like two different opposite,
situations.
Yeah, like how it was before and how it is now is just it's definitely purely God. Like, and it just very, very few people can really understand exactly how I felt when those things happened. It was crazy. Like it really messed with my confidence, like messed with my like, I don't know. But I think, again, it's just, again, obviously, like, it's always a teaching moment. So yeah, 2024, I definitely learned about, like, myself. I grew on the job, like, professional development, like, awards and stuff. And I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I feel like, for me, I was telling somebody yesterday, 2024 is like my year. Well, what I felt in my spirit is like 2024 is my year of sowing. And then 2025 is my year of harvest. And honestly, I am looking so much. I'm looking forward to 2025. I am like ready. I am, like, I want to make 2025 like count. And obviously, I'm like depending on God to make that happen. But really grateful. We're grateful for health, right? Like 2024, I had this nonsense toothache when I had to go to the surgeon, whatever. Till now, the surgeon never see me back. I said I've used the blood of Jesus to cover my teeth. Nothing will happen. I didn't do any extraction. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't have to do that ever in my life. But, like, obviously, like, that also happened. And, it didn't, thankfully, I didn't really have to, pay, like, crazy about, like, with that. So, like, great health, everything, like, even my family. So, yeah, I'm really grateful for 2024 and even more excited about 2025.
So, okay, we've talked about 2024 for the podcast, for personal life. So, looking forward into 2025, so you said 2025 is going to be a year of harvest for you. What are some potential goals you have for yourself for 2025? Maybe like career, personal, spiritual, maybe just like different.
Yeah, of course, like, I won't say everything here, but obviously, like, okay, so 2025, like, spiritual, I want to obviously be, like, more consistent, like, even, much more than I have, than I have been this year. Much more consistent with, like, prayer and, studying the word. Much more consistent with listening. Not just hearing, like, obeying, like, obeying things. Then also, like, I want to go on a mission trip. I've told everybody I know. So I'm putting it out there too. It's one of the things that have been on my mind. I really want to go on a mission trip next year. Yeah, also, like, multiply my giving. Like, God has surprised me so much this year. Like, I think I was telling you earlier, like, I was earning more last year than I was this year because of, like, certain taxes and stuff that kicked in. But, like, I mean, I gave more this year than I even did last year, right? So I'm so happy about that. Again, if you listen to me on the money episode, I really don't want money to be any object that I'll have to chase in my life. And that's what I live by. And every day I tell God that, like, when I give, I don't want to ever feel it, right? So I just want to do more of that next year in 2025. Then 2025, I want to speak more, like, be bolder about my faith, like, the liberal, like, we just finished the Revolution series, and the harvest is plenty and liberals are few, right? Like, I want to, in everything that I do, that in one way or the other, like, speak out the purpose of God, and just be more bold, be bolder, basically, about my faith. And so, professional wise, 2025, hopefully I want to grow more at work, get a promotion, and just, like, meet more people, have better relationships, and learn. Like, I'm a sucker for learning. Like, I love learning, getting feedbacks, developing myself. So hoping that would, well, not hoping, by God's grace, going to happen in 2025. Let me see, next year I want somebody to dash me house next year, please. If God is putting it in your heart, so dash me fine house or big. But I want to be...
Specify where you want the house. Do you want the house to be in Ikoyi? Do you want it to be in Surulere?
Am I living in Ikoyi or Surulere?
No. You have to specify.
Don't worry.
Where do you want the house to be?
If God is laying anything in your heart, that the train. I'm
surprised I can hear the sound of
I'm
the
telling
train
you,
from
I
here.
hope people can hear it. It's so loud. But, like, if God is... See, wherever...
train tracks close to your house?
Yeah. It's not so close, but the train is loud. So, but, like, wherever the Lord is leading it in your heart to give me house, don't worry, just give me. But for real, I want to... I don't even know if now I have, like, a lot of... Like, God is dropping a lot of things in my head. But, like, I have, like, properties. Let me put it that way. So, I really want that to happen next year. Or at least be on the way for that to happen next year. And I want to be, I don't know what entrepreneurship looks like for me, but just hoping to, I don't even know if it's going to be entrepreneurial, but hoping to like building more community, hoping to fulfilling that purpose of just bringing people together, influencing people positively. I think that's one thing that at least God has deposited inside me, and I do like really well. So like just like building that community, like giving people a safe space. Who knows, like maybe even host like worship or prayer sessions next year, who knows, like, but yeah, those are like things that I want to do. Then for the podcast, I don't know, I'm really hoping that, I don't know what this whole video thing would look like for us, but if it's something that I hope that we can do, that would be one of the things, like just step up, one notch higher, have videos, have a better social media management, just like be out there, like put out the message out there more and more, hopefully like praying that we bless lives through what we say, because I feel like this is also a channel. Not everybody will carry a microphone and be on the altar. Amen. But like whatever channel that God has given unto you, like I said earlier, like the harvest is plenty, but laborers are few. So like I'm hoping that God would also use it as a channel to bless people, encourage people. So yeah, I think I've said a lot. What about you?
Yeah, so great plans for 2025. I think for me, spiritually, I think my or let me say the theme, or I think the theme for my next year is going to be very centered around, like there'll be different things that'll be coming out, but very centered around discipline and being consistent in certain things that I'm watching out for, especially one like spiritually, always spiritual growth, or like deeper, like when you are like a plant, but like you are seeking deeper roots, things like that. So I think that's what I want my spiritual life to be like next year, so that when we are testifying of, okay, what was 2025 like, now I'm telling myself, future Omo-Olorun, that's what's going to be like, and even more, right? So I think that's for the spiritual aspect, and there are a lot of things encompassed in that, but for that's what I would say for now. And then I guess professionally, so since I just basically started my job, I think the most important thing that I'm looking for is right now is like stability, quote unquote, right? So people might not get it, but more stability in like understanding what's happening, like just trying to get my feet like firmly and solidly in place, so that I can, grow roots again. I think this is becoming a recurring theme of like I can understand what's happening around, and just make sure that I'm being successful even on my teams, like just generally like networking, meeting people, and all of that. It has been a great one so far this past 4 months thereabout, but yeah, I'm praying to God for like more stability even in my job. What other aspect? I think something again that we heard about in church today as well. I don't know if he mentioned it in the service that you were in, but he talked about how, he was talking about what was he trying to say? He was saying that, have you ever wondered if the things that frustrate you are actually the things that God has called you out to do? And I was like, okay. And then I went to church with Elizabeth, and she was asking me like, oh, what are the things that frustrate me? And I'm like, when I think about it and I think back to something that is a constant like frustration, that no matter what, no matter the time, no matter where my head is in like life, it's always something that I know that you can always guess that that's going to be my answer for that thing. And I was just thinking about it, and when he asked that question, I was really thinking to myself that this is something I've thought about before, but like,
What's
how?
the thing?
You want to know the thing? So I said my constant frustration is just basically like the life of like a girl child, right? Like how she's raised, like what she's taught, especially even apart from the girl child, but like women generally. So like there are things that I see and I'm just like, oh, God, why are women like this? No, and it's not about like why are women like this, but I'm just frustrated that they have that mindset that they have, because that's what society has like pushed them into. So I'm always like very, my like the hairs on my body are always up when I see things like that, like injustice for women, things like that. I'm always like, no, you can't do this, you have to carry yourself like this, you're a child of God, blah blah blah. So and it's something that I've thought about before, but it's always this thing of, okay, where do I want to start from, how do I want to do it, blah blah blah. And even before he said that, he prefaced saying all of this by saying, don't think about how you're going to do it. Right? He mentioned something like that, don't think about how you're going to do it. And I just thought about it and I'm like, this is something that is very constant. Like, this is something that you can wake me up from sleep and say, oh, something, and my blood is already hot. So I was like, okay, maybe this is something that, maybe there's something there, right? So, that's something that hopefully I pray by God's grace that I'll be able to explore more of. Like I already mentioned, I don't know how it's going to happen, but obviously I'm not the author and finisher of my own life. So, if this is something that God really wants me to do, he will he will give me a wisdom on how to go about it. And this podcast is also something as well that just like you mentioned, it's not everybody that might actually get to like stand up on the altar and hold the microphone and preach in a congregation, but this is also another way for words to be heard by people. So that's also something, maybe that's how God is going to do it, I don't know yet, but that's something I'm looking to explore, right? And I think also just on the family front, I think I'm just also looking to seeing my family sometime next year. Like I don't know how it's going to happen, like because right now but that's something I actually vividly hope and pray for. So I wish that next year I'm going to be able to do that. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm trusting that God is going to do it. So I think for now, like, is there any aspect I'm missing? Okay, for the podcast as well, I think I'm re-echoing everything that you said. I think 2025, we've started 2024 like great that we started, right? And we're at least as consistent as we could be. Maybe not as we could be, but we dropped a lot of episodes that we could be proud of, where we mentioned things that we could be proud of. But I feel like 2025 for the podcast, I feel like on quality, basically like on content as well, even the video aspect that we're talking about and the social media, because social media is something that is easy to catch people's attention, right? So definitely wanting to improve on the quality of the things that we're already doing, but like just taking it a step further, right? And we've had like some guests on the show as well, maybe thinking about if we want to explore topics that maybe me and Ebun are not really familiar with, and we have people that we know and we trust that they can do well and deliver on those topics and discussions, because it won't make sense for us to be talking from a place where we both haven't been and trying to like quote give advice. Like it's not going to be authentic, right? So inviting people who we can trust on the podcast to say, okay, share your experience with us about how God has changed your life in a particular area. I think that's also something that I see us doing that will also be like of great help to people. So I think 2025 is going to be it's going to be an amazing year. It's going to be a wonderful year. And I think there are even some things that we can't even think about now that are going to happen in 2025, and we're going to be like, this is God, right? So and maybe we'll go to Alaska too.
I thought you should go. You said no.
We'll go to Alaska. Who knows?
Definitely. Looking forward to more trips next year. Like, I'm very excited. Next year, my fitness journey too.
I was thinking about it too. I was going to say it too when you were talking about your own. That's also something too that I want to do, and I think one of my steps to get an Apple Watch. Not me saying it, it sounds vain, but like I've seen like I've read some benefits about it and everything, and how you can keep track of some of your vitals and all of that. So and even like eating, because once you're getting older, you are not like as young as you used to be. Not me saying it like we are old people, but still you have to start eating like foods, or maybe I should say personally me, because I feel like I don't eat enough nutrients. So those are some things that I'm also looking to do better in the new year, like my nutrition, my physical fitness, just generally taking care of myself, right? It's not just about taking care of the outside of my body, but also making sure that things that I'm putting inside my body as well are good. So right, so like feeding the body, feeding the mind, and all of that. Then
okay,
alrighty.
So I think that's it basically. God help us. God be with us. God answer our prayers. But I'm hoping that at least we've put all these things out there, and praying that.
Let me ask a question before we close. So you know how you get into a new year, you do new year, new me, new year, new this, blah blah blah, and you have New Year's resolution. So what advice would you give to people who are listening? Because it's very easy to say you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do blah, blah, blah. Or what has worked for you? Let me not say advice, because advice
I don't know if I have resolutions. So
no, not resolutions.
No, but I get what you mean. Like people do New Year resolutions. For you, I think
to be consistent in saying, at the beginning of the year you said I'm going to do XYZ, and by the end of the day you can say, I checked off X, Y, and maybe Z is in progress, something like that.
Yeah, so I think the mistake people make is you expect that you just become brand new automatically, like because it's a new year. So
Yeah.
things that you were not doing at all before, you're like, "Ah, it's a new year and I have to start doing these things." Like you have not even built the habits to do those things. So I'll say first of all, reflect on what you've done in 2024, for instance, like we've done, and then look at other things. Okay, so like so you're like, okay, this year we've run a 5K. Next year, okay, how do we move this to a 10K? Like, don't just go. And if there are things that you want to start doing, don't think that, oh, by the end of 2024 I'm already a superstar sprinter. Like,
Yeah.
no, like make it actionable, right?
Yeah.
So what I do is I have things that, like, goals and visions and things that I want to achieve or that God has dropped in my heart, and then I write it down. Bible says make it plain.
Yeah.
So I write it down and I pray about it. Like, God should bring people my way, give me like stuff, and then talk to people, right? I think on one of the episodes we talked about how, I think it was when Kachi was here, we're talking about how when you want to do something, keep telling people about it. That way, people know you, oh, this person wants to do this, right? If they have resources or something, they will let you know. So don't just say, next year I'll be like this. No, like, tell people about it. Like, there are some things like, oh, I'm saying I want to have something. Like, there are people that I've told, oh, like, I'm actually looking to do this next year, or I'm actually looking to do that next year.
Yeah.
Not because I think they can help me, but I just feel like, oh, if I tell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, number one, I'm holding myself accountable to do that, and number two, who knows, like, you can
Somebody
now
might
know
be
somebody that
yeah.
I know, like, that can say something that looks so. It's like, don't just keep it to yourself. Like, be very. I know people do. I think I was checking a post sometime today, and I saw 2 people that were doing like I can't remember what they called it. I think it was like a friendship goal set or something, like something very funny. But like I think it's just more of get accountability. And I know, like, sometimes when you say get people are like abeg, but like, I don't know, there's no sugarcoating it. It's like,
Yeah.
if you really want to do something, aside like you keeping it in and praying about it, you also have to like tell people. You also have to be like, take actionable steps.
Yeah.
Get what I mean? Like, okay, January, this is what I have to do. February is what I have to do. So like at the beginning of the year, I just write out like stuff, goals, and I also have confessions that I say. I think it was Tunchi that was telling me that like I totally forgot about. In fact, she actually made me go back to pick my confession book and start making some confessions that I wrote like 4 years ago, because she was like, oh, I think she was using me as an example somewhere. She was like, oh, my friend used to confess this, and I'm seeing her live this. Like, it's just so funny how, like you said, like, you start confessing something when you're living in it, you
don't
fades
realize,
off
yeah.
your memory about how you've actually, so you're living in one of the prayers, one of your answered prayers, but you just don't know it because it looks normal. So, well, those are like a couple of things I do. I don't know if that was a structured answer, but
I think something I was also thinking about, like maybe earlier in the week, was just like how you said, I think you have like your overarching goals of, I want to be more, for example, fit come the end of 2025, or I want to have started my business, blah blah blah. But I think also taking it a step, like looking deeper, like taking a deeper dive and saying, okay, in January, this is what I want to achieve. Because just like you said, it always seems funny when you do, the whole new year, new me thing. And then January comes by and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel like 2025. It doesn't always feel like 2025 until like January 19th or January 24th. You're like, oh, we're in the new year, right? So I think what my own plan, or my own game plan is for 2025 is, I'm taking it step by step. Like, okay, yes, there is a plan for 2025, but there should also be plans for each month. There should also be plans for each week. I feel like the minute you are able to achieve, because I think sometimes too, as human beings, if you don't see results immediately, you get discouraged. It's like, oh, I want to do this, but I've not gotten anywhere yet. But if you have a plan for like, oh, this week I want to do 1, 2, 3, and you're able to achieve it, you feel like you're working towards that greater goal. So that's how I plan to look at like whatever goals I'm setting for myself, even in 2025. But yeah, but definitely, if you guys have any ideas on how people can make use of this new year, new me momentum of, oh, we're in a new year, how can I achieve my goals? Yeah, definitely drop whatever relevant comments that you have. But yeah, I will pray to God that the new year will be everything that we want and even more, and that the goals that we have, that even when we are doing a reflection of it by the end of 2025, we'll be able to say, oh yeah, God did this for me. I'm living in answered prayers and all of that. So yeah.
Amen. All right, guys.
What is your daily dose of EO for the year? Your final dose of EO for the year?
Sorry, say it again.
I said, what is your final dose of EO for the year?
I don't even know. Let me see. I think okay. Well, thankfully today is Sunday, so I'm going to borrow from what was preached today about like the cost of what the message was about. What the cost, but like one of the things that I picked from today is like you have to be mindful of your community next year.
Yeah.
You can't. There's one Yoruba adage that says, one rich person in the midst of 6 poor people is also a poor person.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't be richer than like the majority of who you're rolling with. So I think next year, and I'm not a
Cuts
every
my
year
haters
you
off.
see you see people cutting their haters off. They're I don't know, they're haters, but like I don't dwell so much on haters, but like I feel like we have to be more intentional about the community that you build, about how you want to grow. Like if you have like new year, if you have resolutions, or if you have like goals, you just have to be intentional about pursuing them. You have to be intentional about putting yourselves around people that are achieving those things, so that they can motivate you, help you, and also you should also be like a help to other people. Like you should also be like encouraging other people. So it's like a whole cycle, right? So let's next year keep praying, keep believing God, be open to what God has to do for you, or what the purpose that God has for you for the year, for next year. So anyway, what's yours?
So mine is, I think, two things. Well, kind of, no, not really connected, but like 2 things. So I think my first one will be also something that I heard in church today. And it was a quote by Mother Teresa. And it said, yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today, so let us begin. So basically talking about how you need to, just like what we say, you need to be present sometimes in the moment, and, even appreciate God for what he has done for you, because sometimes you are living in your answered prayers, right? So that's one of them. And I think the second thing is, and this is for like more forward looking and like future thinking, even as we go into the new year. I think one quote I don't know whether I read it or I heard it, but I came across it very recently, and it's something that just has been resounding in my head for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And it says like everything that you need or everything that you want is on the other side of discipline. Like that goal that you want for yourself, or I want to achieve this, is on the other side of you being disciplined in one form or another. And I think that's just something that I've been carrying with me, and I'm going to be taking into the new year. Like, okay, this thing that I want, it's on the other side of discipline. This whatever it is that you want, basically. So that's something that's really resonated with me, and that's something that I think I'm dropping as my final dose of EO for the year. And yeah, so like, let's be disciplined, let's stay on top of our goals for the year by the grace of God as well, because I know sometimes we know it's good for us, but we're just not willing to do it because it's more convenient to do something else. But yeah, so let's continue to look unto God, to help us to be strengthened, to help discipline us to be able to achieve, the things that we want for ourselves and the things he wants for us as well. So yeah.
Alrighty, it's been
Thanks,
a great time.
guys.
I feel like we've been very serious this episode. Like
people are going to be very like
that was what I was just looking for, like a game. Like if we can just do one small thing to sign off for something. Like it's just been very. Usually we laugh and stuff this year, but someone's like, why is everybody looking very?
Everybody should be serious. Everybody should tighten their belts. But yeah, so we're ending the year on a high note, I think, because we're able to accomplish a lot on the podcast. Released a lot of episodes. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the new year.
Yeah, and we'll see you when we see you. I don't know when we'll come, but
it will be in the new year. So it will be in the new year. So there's no definite time attached to it, but it will be in the new year.
All right, guys. Thank you for riding with us. See you next year. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all all streaming platforms, and don't forget to what I said earlier. Drop a message, drop questions, drop what you think, drop your favorite episodes, all the good stuff, and we'll see you next year. Bye.